What's up, guys? So this is my first tutorial, like my first proper tutorial on YouTube, and today I want to show you guys how I made this flyer. Yup, this one. So what I usually do is when I head to my Photoshop, you need to like know how to use Photoshop for it to follow up. So this is not like a beginner tutorial. It's for like people who have basic knowledge of how Photoshop works. So excuse me, you head to your Photoshop, you click on new file. I believe you know how to do that. Create a new file. I can keep it 5 by 5 or 10 by 10 just to make it square. I usually start by making it square. Then I'm going to change my fill to black, and I'm trying to keep this tutorial as short as possible. So I create my file, my document rather, and I most times don't like using these guides. So we are going to go to view, guides, and clear guides. So it's off. So I've prepared like a folder that has all these files in case you want to follow up, or in case you like to, or in case you like to get your own pictures and do it your own way. But I'm just going to show you the process. Yeah, so I have everything here. First, I'm going to bring in this picture, drag it into Photoshop. And so now what I'm going to do is, because I don't want this flyer or this design to be like square, so I'm going to choose my crop tool here, or I can just click C, press C, and make it to whatever dimensions you want. And I'm going to fill the background. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to crop this picture. There's a faster way to crop pictures on Photoshop, especially when the background is does not have maybe like a lot of things going on. So if you go to your properties, and if you can't find your property panel, you can just go to your windows and scroll down to properties here. So go to your properties and convert to layers. Then you see this button right here, remove background. Click on remove background, and Photoshop is going to do the magic for you. So my background is off, and what I'm going to do next is I'm going to scale him down. But before I do that, I'm going to convert this file, this picture to a smart object, so the quality doesn't drop no matter how much I scale it. So I just scale it down, place it here, and go back to this file. I'm going to bring this picture I took from his page because I actually like the picture, and I'm going to drop it into Photoshop. So what I'm going to do with this picture is I want excuse me, what I'm going to do with this picture is I want this picture to be in a frame, in a white frame. So I'm going to go to my shape tool, and I'm going to pick this rectangle. So I'm just going to make it this size. Yeah. So I'm going to take out the stroke, change the fill from black to white. And what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to duplicate this by holding Ctrl J. So I'm going to scale this one inward, and I'm going to place it in the center of the first one, and I'm going to move the picture above it, and I'm going to scale it down, and I'm going to like create a clip mask. So I can just hold down Ctrl Alt G to just clip the picture to the box beneath it, or if that's too long for you, you can just go here. So just have to go here, scroll down to create clipping mask, and it's going to clip that for you. So after this, I don't want these boxes to be rounded. I don't want the edges to be rounded, so I'm going to go into my properties and I'm going to remove this from 10 pixels to 0, and I'm going to do the same thing for this one, 0. So I have these sharp edges, like, yeah. So what you have to do, or what I did, was scale this one up because I didn't want to have too much space. So I scaled it up and I made it a little bit bigger and try to like reposition it in the center. And that was that. So instead of me going through this whole process, I'm just going to like duplicate this, select these two white boxes, Ctrl J to duplicate. So with the first ones, the first two, and the picture I clicked in it, I'm going to like create a group. So I'm going to select all three and I'm going to press Ctrl G. So that's for the first picture. I can actually scale it down, or let me just leave it that way. I'm just going to hide it. Then I'm going to bring in my second picture, which is this one. And I'm also going to like scale it down. And I'm going to go here again. See these lines? I'm going to go here and click on create clipping mask. So I'm clipping it to the box beneath it. So I'm just going to scale it up a little bit, and I'm going to group everything here again. So we have the first one and we have the second one. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go to the first one. I'm going to right click and I'm going to convert it to smart object so I can apply filters to it. So if you go to your group, right click and convert it to smart object. Then do the same for the second one, right click, convert to smart object. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to scale this one down and I'm going to put it behind him. And I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to put this one behind him. And I'm going to scale it down a little bit. So I actually wanted this one to be a little bit smaller. So I'm going to scale it down. And I'm going to scale basket's picture up. Yeah, that way. I'm going to take it up a little bit. I'm going to move this one this way. And I'm going to rotate it. So at this point, it's just based on what you want, what you have in your head. So I'm going to select everything and move it to the right. Take it down a little bit. And I'm still going to scale this picture up. I feel like it's too small. Yeah, that way. And I'm going to move this picture up a little bit, like here. And I'm going to still rotate it a little bit. I don't want it to look too fixed. Yeah, this is good. So I'm going to bring in this floor that looks like a chessboard. And I'm going to take out the background, like this concrete wall. I don't need it, so I'm just going to like right click and rasterize it. Then with my selection tool, I'm going to just do this, take it off. I just press backspace, delete, and I'm going to put it below every other layer this way, and I'm going to bring in my background. This way. And I'm so right now I'm putting the background below everything here. So I just scaled it up like this, and I brought it down a little bit so it actually looks real. So because I was going for a brown feel for this design, I had to like select my background, press Ctrl B for color balance, and then at this point you just have to like tweak it to however you want. So I was just going for a brown feel, so I just played with the colors. Then I blurred the background. So select your background and go to filter, go to blur and go to Gaussian blur. Yeah, so just increase it to whatever you want, but I took it up to this point, and this was good for me. So the other thing I did was like to just work on the color a little bit more. So I just press Control M for your curves. Just press Control M while you're still on this background. Why is it not working? Oh, let me go to image, adjustment, and go to curves. Yeah, I just wanted the curves to be a little bit darker, so I just brought down this graph. And I'm still going to go back to that color balance. I'm not too satisfied. I think I should increase the blue a little bit. Then go to the highlight and take it down to this point. But at this point, guys, it's just based on what you want. So I was not too satisfied, so I had to still tweak it, because I actually want the design to match his skin tone, like that. Let me see. Okay, this is good for me. So the other thing I did was go to these pictures. I just had to duplicate one, Ctrl J, took it up, and then scaled it. And then what I did was I used click on this point, any point, just click on any point, and then I went to this wrap tool, and I just tweaked it. I just wanted to create that effect to make it look like it was on the air. So I just played with it a little bit, like this way. At this point, it's just based on how creative you want to get, or based on what you want. So I played with this. And this was good for me. So what I did was take it down here and rotate it a little bit. I don't think this was a little bit. And placed it this way. And then I also went to, with this picture here, I also went to my filter I applied my Gaussian blur, and this is too much. I took it down a little bit this way. This was fine because I was just trying to like create this depth of field where it's like whatever is closer to the camera is blurry or is blurred out, and whatever that is on the camera's focus is more clearer or sharper. So that was what I did here. Just took it up a little bit, rotate it one more time. Like I said, at this point it's just about how creative you can get. So actually rotating this like this. Yep. Let me just scale it up a little bit. I want it big. Yeah. This is good. So the other thing I did was duplicate this copy and place it this other way, but this time I was rotating it the other way around. So this was what I did. Yeah, this way. So for this one I also applied motion blur to it. Go to your filter, go to blur, select motion blur. You just have to like pick a direction you want. I wanted to like seem like it was going up. And by the way, you can also use two effects. You can apply this motion blur and you can still choose to apply another one based on the effect you're trying to get. So I use motion blur here. Then I brought in my chess king, whatever. I don't play chess, so I really don't know how to call this, but I just brought them in. I brought them in and I placed one just here, and because I wanted this picture to be like in front of everything, like it was coming out of the frame, out of the camera. So I brought in my chess. I don't know, I brought in this object and I took it down in front of basket mouth. Yeah, and I scaled it. I actually scaled this picture up. Oh, let me scale it up a little bit. It's too small. So I'm going to scale basket mouth up a little bit. No, I'm going to take him up a little bit further. Yeah, that's good. So I place this one here. Let me just scale this a little bit down. Place this one here. Pick this one and place it here. So right now you can just get as creative as you want. So this one here. So I duplicated this one. And I wanted this one to be like in the background, just there, so it doesn't look too fake. So it doesn't look too fake. I had to like rotate it and make it lie on the floor like this. And I scaled it up a little bit. So for me, I was just trying to be creative here. So for the background, I went over the floor and I created an empty layer. Set my brush on black. Then I was just like brushing the background or above the background. I'm going to take down my opacity a little bit. Let me use 50 or 59. So just brush it a little bit, because I want the focus to be on him. So I'm still going to take down my opacity a little bit. I don't want the effect to be too much. So I brushed here, because if the light is coming from this angle, this picture is supposed to cast shadow. So brushed here a little bit, and same thing here. I also brushed here a little bit, because I just believe this picture should be like blocking the light coming from like from the front. So this is good, and I just wanted to like have this spot here a little bit brighter. So I'm just going to choose my my eraser tool by pressing E, or just go here, eraser tool, and I'm going to like erase this black here. I want that spot to be bright actually. So that was what I did. Then I'm going to like create another empty layer, or another blank layer, whatever, and I'm going to set it on black. And I was just trying to like create his shadows. So the other thing I did was go on this chest. I don't know, this chest, whatever it is. Just this, because it was looking too exposed. So what I did was create an empty layer above it. Create a layer above it, and create a clipping mask, so I can just brush some of its parts, or just brush it. I didn't like how it was, because it was not looking real. So I still use my brush, set it on black, and I just went over it like this way, because by default, or the way it should be, is this picture here, this one. So it's supposed to be casting shadows or blocking light. So there's supposed to be no light here. There's supposed to be no light there, and it was looking too exposed. So I just made that black there. Just added that black layer, and I reduced my opacity a little bit. Yep. And that was that. So the other thing I did was go to this one behind. I also created an empty layer, but I didn't create a clipping mask for that one. I just set it on black also, and I just brushed it a little bit. So I'm going to reduce my brush opacity, because it's actually too much. So what I did was just brush it a little bit. I didn't want it to be too exposed. So I'm still going to like erase some part of it, because right now it's too much. But mind you, there's supposed to be a shadow below it. So the other thing I did was reduce the saturation for it. So I just went over to the objects, and I pressed Ctrl U, or you just press Ctrl U to bring up your hue and saturation, and I just took it down a little bit. So the other thing I did was go over to this picture, go over to filters. I went to my blur, Gaussian blur, and I blurred it a little bit, because I actually wanted it to be like it was a little bit far from the camera's focus. So I just blurred it a little bit. Yep. So that was what I did, and I went over to his picture because we didn't crop this picture like manually. We didn't crop this picture manually, so if you look, you see like there's a bleed from the background getting over to his hair. So what I did was select that layer and go over to your layer mask, create a layer mask, and set your brush on black. The thing is, when you set your brush on black, you're actually going to like extract or erase, but when you set it on white, you're going to like reveal. So you're going to like reveal whatever you erased. So you have to like have it at the back of your mind that black is actually going to take out and white is going to bring in, or black is going to hide and white is going to reveal. So I just set it on black and I reduce my brush opacity. Okay, it's actually on 25. That's fine. So I just took my time. I went over his head and just brushed that color off. Sometimes you can just get away with this, but if you want to have a very clean job, you just have to take your time and go over it. So this is what I did. But if I had cropped this picture like manually, I wouldn't have experienced it. So the other thing I did was go to his picture. Remember, his picture the picture was converted to smart objects, so I can still apply filters to it. So what I did was go over to my filter, then look for your camera raw filter here, or you can just hold down Control Alt Shift A, right? Control Alt Shift A. Sorry, not here. It was actually supposed to be on the main layer itself, not the mask. So either you go over to filter, camera raw filter, and you tweak it, or Control Shift A. So you just have like press Control Shift A to come here to your camera raw filter setting, and we are going to tweak this. You see, the picture is not so sharp. So what I did was, I just wanted to be I wanted the picture to be smooth. So what I did was go over to my basic. I increased the texture a little bit. Then I went over to my detail and I increased the noise reduction. So the picture was looking kind of smooth and fresh. So that was that, and that was how this fly was designed. So for the font I used, I think this font comes like by default. It's not a special font. I just set this to gold. No gradient setting. Just choose your font color, and this name of the font, Old English. So I just type my happy birthday blah 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 blah. I just placed my text, and that was how this design was made. And there's an extra thing you can do if you want. There's an extra thing you can do, which is going above every layer and then going back to your adjustment layer here, create fill or adjustment layer. I can go over to you can add a color lookup. So if you have presets already, or you can just create new adjustment layers above every other thing and tweak your color however you want it. Well, I have presets installed on my PC, so I just went over it. I created an a color lookup layer, and I just went over to my presets, and I'm just going to like pick the one I think makes more sense. But yeah, I went for this one, orange and teal. So this is what I used. And mind you can still go here and reduce the opacity a little bit, so the effect is not too much on the picture. And yeah, that was how this flyer was created, though it's not so accurate like the first one, like the original, but that's how it was created. And please do remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel to help the channel grow, and I'm going to be posting more videos like this, and I hope you guys like it.